Here we are. It's King Shit. It's Sunday. Sunday Blues. King Shit Sunday Blues. This week's going to be just a little different. If you watched last week, you might realize that I said there was a few things I've been working on outside of new original blues music, but it was my hi-fi audio stuff and some cannabis-related stuff. Now, before we get into any of that, if you're not of age, you don't smoke or like cannabis, or now I always put my stuff up, it's not monetized, and I never say it's for content for children. It's not. I go by the handle King Shit, right? You would think. But if anyone is offended by, has a problem with, or you didn't mean to come by here about cannabis related stuff, maybe you want to step out now. But we're going to talk about that a little bit. But first, I got a couple of things I want to talk about just a little bit. The first is that there is a lot of blues in King Shit's heart right now. We've had a loss here in the castle. After almost 15 years, we've had to say goodbye to Watson, our cat. He's crossed over the Rainbow Bridge this week, and we're all feeling really a little tough about it. He had a great life, and we're going to miss him every minute of every day. He was my number one fan. Every Sunday morning when I set up, he'd be crawling around, meowing, looking at me, waiting for me to play. My daughter Sky used to say that. He can't wait for the show to start. He's got the best seat in the house. And, that meant the world to me, really did. So we're going to have to move on and have a lot of great memories and love in our hearts. And also, on a happier note, yesterday was Queen Kathy and mine 22nd anniversary. I love you, Kathy. Thank you for all these amazing years. I couldn't have done it without you, and I wouldn't have wanted to without you, and I hope we have lots more left. And now, on to something else I've been meaning to talk about. As I said, what I have in my hand right here is cannabis that I grew myself. I had a little bit of help and guidance, but for the most part, this was from seed or clone right here to harvest. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Now, if you're like me and you're a medical patient, or you're in a state where it's recreational, or both, consider growing. I'm not telling you you should or shouldn't. I'm just saying this is how well it went for me. This was my second year. Last year I did 4 plants. I kept them small, kept the root balls stunted so they wouldn't get too big, so I'd have an idea what I would be or wouldn't be in for. I had a small harvest. I was impressed. This year, we're allowed to do up to 12. I said I'll try 12, knowing that probably not all of them will make it, and then have a little better harvest, get a little maybe closer to self-sufficiency. And 11 of my 12 made it this year, and with varying degrees of success. But I will say this, just like I had hoped, for me personally, the main reason to do it is purity. Now, I'm a guy about purity of music, of content on my channel, and of heart, even though that's an ask. That's not saying I have a pure heart. No one does. We all have the duality of man in us. We're all good, we're all bad. You gotta work for the good. And so I think that as far as the grow part of it is, if you want to do it, you'll be able to do it. In some ways, it's just a weed. It's not difficult to grow, but there's different challenges indoor and outdoor. I have friends and people I know who grow indoors and have for years, and it's a real science. You're basically working everything to get it like outdoor conditions. So to me, if you can, grow outdoor. In this state, like I said, you're allowed to grow at least 12, and as a medical patient, I'm allowed, from what I've read, to grow enough to keep me with a 10-ounce, 60-day supply, which, if I'm only doing 1 outdoor harvest, it would be probably significantly more than that for plants. I'm not sure how that would work exactly, but basically grow enough to smoke, be self-sufficient, and it can be done, especially if you do some indoor, some outdoor. I can't because of my living situation, but I do have enough room in my back that in this state, you can't have it out in the open. It has to be contained and so forth. And I've met all my rules and regulations, and I encourage anyone who's going to do it to check in carefully so you don't get any unexpected surprises. It may also be, if you don't own your own property, it can be an issue with renting or HOAs and things. Don't mess up with anybody. Have your I's dotted, your T's crossed before you even start. Now, having said all this, for me, the beauty about it is to grow it 100% organically. And so for me, that meant just using good organic soil. I used some Miracle Grow has one just for vegetables like tomatoes and so forth. That's all organic. And some people in the grow community poo-poo on them because a lot of the Miracle Grow stuff is more for like flower beds and stuff. And to be fair, it's chemical related, but not the soil, not this particular soil anyway. It just has like manure and all the normal things that you would want in good vegetable soil. So that's a good starting point. And I watched a guy did 15 different, I think it was 15 different bags of soil. And he grew, I think, lettuce as a comparison. And two of the top three were Miracle Grow, and the expensive stuff that they sell in the grow shops, I won't name by name, but they did not do great. So it just goes to show there's also watch YouTube videos, but take everything at face value. Consider the source, and remember that a lot of these people are getting paid by the people whose products that they're telling you are so great. So keep that in mind. I'm sure there's people who still have their heart in it and do it right, but me personally, I'm always a little. So listen to everybody and don't listen to anybody. You have to find your own way. There's one guy out there I like a lot up in Canada who's a grower who says, it's your ship, you're the captain, do it your way. And he's also the same as I say, check into everything, learn a little about it, and then see what's going to work for you. And experience will tell. Now, it's only my second season, so my second harvest, so experience isn't huge for me. But this is one of 11 plants that I grew myself, and they're tasty, fresh. The only other the only other fertilizer I used was fish emulsion. You buy it in a bottle. I bought the 511, so it's not too much. You can look up what all this means, but the gist is, for me, once they got just towards the end of the vegetative stage and started getting to the blooming stage, I would add this every 10 days in a solution, a little bit less than they said. It's basically like rotten fish in a liquid form. That's all it is. And it doesn't matter what you're growing, not just cannabis. If you look on you'll see tons of people raving about how much this helps your grows. And my buddy Jim had told me about it from indoor grow use. And I'm glad he did. It's the only thing I used, and it seemed to really keep my flowers really healthy, big and green. I don't know how much it helped on budding. There's more feeds that are more towards budding, but I wanted just one thing only to use, and this worked out beautiful. And I can't say I grew enough necessarily to be self-sufficient. Time will tell. I don't think I actually did, but when you consider what the prices are at most dispensaries, I would say, it could be $10 to $15 a gram for high test herb, or by the ounce, they're probably the cheapest you could do would be about 100 to 125 an ounce, right? So if you smoke an ounce every couple of weeks, like I'd say most of us fairly heavy smokers do, that adds up, don't it? So every ounce that you can grow is that much less money that you have to spend, and that much purer herb you're putting into your system. So I'm motivated. I hope you are too. If you're not, that's okay too. Dispensaries do a good job. Here in Mass, everything is very regulated. You can look right up off the QR codes and stuff to see how it passed or didn't pass. But I have seen some grow people say, yeah, but they can take herb that didn't pass and do weird things to try and make it better and pass again. So I don't know how often that happens and how much truth there is to that, but more good reasons to consider doing it on your own. And now, before we get to today's song, and also, it is a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. Those big bags of soil, and I used 7 to 10 gallon cloth bags to grow in this year, and each one takes about one of those whole bags of soil that probably weigh 50 pounds, 60 pounds, I don't know, whatever it is. And you got to lug them around to your spot and then load it and everything. And the harvest itself, the trimming can be hours and hours of tedious little clipping work. But when you think about it, it's, I think, and you can laugh at me and call me an old hippie, but I think it's kind of doing God's work in a way. In a sense, you're taking CO2 out of the atmosphere and adding oxygen to it. And anything you grow helps fight off, anything at all pretty much that you're growing that's natural is going to help fight off carbon emissions and global warming. So grow for the planet, grow for yourself. And right now, I'm going to show a little bit of the fruit of my harvest. Inspiration for today's song. Cheers, everybody. And I'd like to say to all those YouTubers who do herb-related one, hold your tokes, man. These dudes take these massive rips and they just cough them right out. I'm like, did you get a buzz? did you get any benefit? From what I remember, 3 to 5 seconds hold before you exhale. But just me. All right. Now back to the business at hand. I did get an original blues song. And we're going to do it kind of old school Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker style with just the electric. I like to get a little foot stomping going. I don't know if the mic will pick it up. That was if you're like me and you're a big John Lee Hooker guy, you know he always had that stomp foot going on. And I think he used to have hard sole shoes on a wooden floor, or a little piece of wood under him even to amplify it on some of those old recordings, which it's just awesome stuff. And, well, anyway, that's the basic gist of what we're going to do here. All right, guitar's ready to go, and so am I. Now, this one is, non-ironically enough, called Reefer Blues, all right? And it goes like this. Reefer Blues got me so bad. Worst time old king shit's ever had. Need my weed and it can't be found. Gonna lay myself right down on the ground. Lord, I can't stand such bad news. To be suffering from the old reefer blues. I had some bud the night before last. Felt so good I had myself a blast. But it was just enough for one night. It gets sad when it's all out of sight. Well, only thing worse than a no-herb curse is to be too big to finish this verse. Oh, reefer blues may soon go away. We'll have us a more happy day. Harvest's in and the crop is just fine. Everybody's feeling out of their minds. We'll puff up and sing, let the wheat bells ring. Reefer blues no longer messing with the king. All right, do you have managed to get through one this week and still get a few things talked about and done? And I hope 2 things: that you have a great week, you enjoy yourself, that you come back and dig the blues, and if you're as lucky as old king shit, you have a crop waiting for you in the future too. All right, we're gonna see you next time back here in the castle every Sunday. You know the thing, we do the thing right here every time. This is King Shit from the castle saying over.